All right. Well, I made Charlie his own video. He deserved his own video because he's very upset. And when people are very upset, I mean, they deserve to be heard. I don't just delete unless we've been over it enough and, we've gone over stuff. So Charlie Brown is very upset. It's 19 minutes where I really try to put things in perspective. I mean, let me tell you what the Bible's about, what Jesus is about, because Jesus is the truth. So let me tell you what the truth is about. All right, hang on just a second. You have to understand, and we'll go over what Jamie said too. She had something to say about Charlie's situation, and she might have more to say as she goes through it. But anyway, I want you to think about this 3-verse passage here. This is Jesus speaking. Think not that I come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. Now, what is that sword about? Sharper than any two-edged sword. We're going to get to that. Just remember that one. For I come to set man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. Let's go to Jesus again. If any man come to me and hate not his father and his mother and his wife and his children and his brethren and his sisters, yea, and even his own life, can't be my disciple unless you. Now, is that an emotional hatred to the person? No. But your spirit has to hate on their spirit. You have to hate on the negative things against the truth that they do. There are Christians that literally will say, well, I know Christmas is pagan, but I do it for my mom. I do it for my children. I do it for my grandmother. No. No. You got to hate on them. You got to say, I'm not taking part in the pagan celebration. I love you, but I'm not taking part in the pagan celebration. I love you enough to tell you the truth. That's hating on them in the regards of what that's meant, in the spirit of what that's about. So I come to set man at variance against his father. I'm not coming over during Christmas. I don't celebrate Christmas. Let's go to the final one I've got for you. For the word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and to the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. So that was what I was getting to with Charlie's. It just didn't seem like his heart was in it. Did it to y'all? It just didn't seem like his heart was there to study. He just scoffed and went away. Now, Jamie came in and said he might have been thinking of this verse, talking about a few people, a small people. And you look it up in the Greek, and it transfers over to like a few. And lo and behold, it's that king of the north, king of the south, which I tell you all when I go through that study from Daniel 1 through my Daniel 4 studies, and I will again when I do the Daniel 5 studies. That's the toughest thing in the world to understand. You got the king of the south and the king of the north. And everywhere in here that's blue or green, I went through and tried to decipher which pronoun is north or south. And I think the daughter of woman corrupting her is corresponding to the king's daughter of the south. I think it might be a retelling of that. I'm not sure. The one thing I will tell you, I'm not dogmatic about any of this. This could all be about what happened after Daniel and before Jesus came. This might be something that already took place. Because there was also the destruction of Israel. But I think also in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I, Daniel, stood to confirm and strengthen him. And now I will show you the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than they all. And by his strength through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Grecia. So you're talking about the Medes and the Persians being transferred over to the Greek Empire. And the mighty king shall stand up that shall rule with great dominion and do according to his will. And when he shall stand up, his kingdom shall be broken and shall be divided toward the 4 winds of heaven, and not to his posterity, not according to his dominion, which he ruled, for the kingdom shall be plucked up, even for others besides those. Now, I'm telling you, I'm already confused. I tell everybody when I read this, it is the absolute most confusing thing. Every time I go over it, I tell people, this is the part I just am not dogmatic about. I'm not sure what's going on. You got the king of the north, king of the south. And I should go through and do the pronouns in the New Living also. I have been standing beside Michael to support and strengthen him since the first year of his reign of Darius the Mede. Now, then, I will reveal to you the truth. 3 more Persian kings will reign. Now, this is all about what Jamie is saying he could be talking about. And why I would tell you, if I was Charlie Brown, I wouldn't be trying to get any Antichrist truth out of Daniel 11:23 for a myriad of reasons. So let me get rid of that. Did we ever get a thumbnail? I didn't plant one, so hopefully something. There we go. Hey, I love that thumbnail. Woo. That's the quote from even the very least thing, to the free will of man, he knows nothing. I like it. I like it. That's good. We'll take that. So let's get back to what Jamie is possibly saying. What all this is. Three more Persian kings will reign, to be succeeded by a 4th, far richer than the others. He will use his wealth to stir up everyone to fight against the kingdom of Greece. And we know that you had the Babylonians, and then came the Medes and the Persians, then came the Grecian Empire, then came the Roman Empire. Then a mighty king will rise to power, who will rule with a great authority and accomplish everything he sets out to do. But at the height of his power, his kingdom will be broken apart and divided into 4 parts. It will not be ruled by the king's descendants, nor will the kingdom hold the authority it once had, for his empire will be uprooted and given to others. The king of the south will increase in power. So now it starts to get into the king of the south. It doesn't tell you who they are, what they are, or anything. It is absolutely crazy. And when I broke it down here, I highlighted everywhere it said king of the north, king of the south, and I tried to add in the pronouns. You know, like the he is talking back about that. So, and then you come in here, and I'll tell you, I got lost after a while. My eyes started crossing. I got very dizzy. And I'll just explain it to you. He shall also set his face to enter with the strength of his. You can't even see them all. These pronouns are everywhere. This whole kingdom and upright ones with him, thus shall he do. And he, this is a different he, this is the king of the south, shall give him the king of the north, the daughter of the king of the south, of woman, corrupting her, the king's daughter of the south. I believe that it's the same here. Might be a totally different daughter situation. I don't know. But she, all these pronouns, you read through this, if you can follow this, of women corrupting her, but she shall not stand on his side, neither be for him. After this, he, who he? More than likely, Green, king of the north, shall turn his face into the isles and shall take away many, but a prince for his own. Okay, the his is a prince. So it's a different pronoun for something totally different. Of his own behalf shall cause the reproach offered by him, pronoun, not telling us who or what's going on, to cease. Without his own reproach, he shall cause it to turn upon him. Then he shall turn his face toward the fort of his own land, but he shall stumble and fall and not be found. It's all the same person. He shall turn his face toward the fort of his own land, but he shall stumble and fall and not be found. But I don't know if that's king of the north or king of the south. It lost me because they quit saying king of the north, king of the south. Set it all the way up here, then started coming through all of this. I followed the best I could and then got lost. Then shall stand up his estate, a raiser of taxes, in the glory of the kingdom, but within few days he shall be destroyed, neither in anger nor in battle. Who got destroyed? And in his estate, who shall stand up a vile person? Are we talking about the Antichrist? I don't know. To whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. Could be the Antichrist. In other words, it's kind of like a deeper story behind the story that's we'll never really see happening in the news or anything. I don't know. And with the arms of the flood shall be overflown from him before him, and shall be broken, yea, also the prince of the covenant. That's very difficult to understand there. What are they trying to say in the New Living? Not that you can trust it, as I proved to you in the previous video. Before him, great armies will be swept away, including a covenant prince. A covenant prince. Who is the covenant prince of Daniel 11? This was Onias, the high priest, who was removed. I put Jason in his place. Commentaries, Bible Hub. You can read these all day and not know if any of them are telling you the truth. The rendering of the LXX is a very wide of this, and at the broken arms he shall break before him. It's much shorter than the Masoret from the old Hebrew text. Yet the contradictory assertion that arms already broken are broken before him is conclusive against accepting the evidence I mean, good grief. I'm telling you, you can get involved in this all day and not be able to prove nor know what in the world is going on. I keep things very simple. When I became a head football coach, I clinicked with other head coaches. They said, keep it simple. Teach what you know for sure and make sure you do it right. Run certain amount of plays over and over and over. And what did LSU beat Florida with? The counter the whole game. Even though it was staged and faked, it was one play the whole game. The counter. Couldn't stop the counter. In the back of the Lombardi days, it was the Packer sweep. They ran it to perfection. They ran it all game long. Nobody could stop it. Same play over and over. Find something you do well and do it. They can't stop you. That's rules in football. I teach what I know. When things get ambiguous, I believe in my spirit that the Holy Spirit is allowing it to be ambiguous for a reason. If he wants it ambiguous, let it be ambiguous. If anybody can come to me and dogmatically tell me what Daniel 11 is about, and they want to offer a little bit of proof, that'd be great. Love to know, because I'm tired of not knowing. But I can't promise you that I'll just accept what you're telling me. I might say that sounds good. I'm still not 1,000% that you're right. You know what I mean? After this, he shall turn his face. So we started getting lost, right? And we got to 22 where I got lost. Before him, great army, including the covenant. We're trying to find out who the covenant prince is. Couldn't find out. I mean, we read that whole thing, but nothing about a covenant prince. I think I saw covenant prince in there somewhere. Here it is. Because the Jewish high priest at Antioch did not sustain the relation of a prince of the covenant, but also because the murder was perpetrated without previous knowledge of who's he talking about? Well, that's one of the 7 kings, isn't it? When Trump's comparing himself to the 7 kings. Antiochus IV Epiphanes. Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Donald Trump are all cut from the same cloth. Pizza Hut commercial. And there's that guy that they're saying that's who they're speaking of. So like I told you, it goes back to potentially the Grecian Empire. Well, that's what I'm telling you. Let's go back to what Jamie's saying. Daniel 11:23, with deceitful promises, he will make various alliances. He will become strong despite having only a handful of followers. You can't sit there and be sure that that's the Antichrist, that that's Trump, or whoever Charlie Brown would say the Antichrist is. I mean, this could be talking about, we just don't know. This is the most vaguest thing, in my opinion, of the entire Bible, is Daniel 11. Shall be broken, yea, also the prince of the covenant. Okay. Whoever or whatever that is. And after the league made with him, he shall work deceitfully. For he shall come up and shall become strong with a small people. Whew. He shall peacefully even upon the fattest places of the province, and he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. He shall scatter among the prey and spoil and riches, yea, and he shall forecast his devices against the strongholds for a time, and he shall stir up his power and his courage against the king of the south. Again, I was able to start color coding because we got king of the north, king of the south back in here again. With a great army, and the king of the south shall be stirred up to battle. And I've done this before, but let's do it again. Who is the king of the north in Daniel 11? Is anybody going to give us a straight answer? Who is the king of the south in Daniel 11? Got questions, wants to tell us. Got questions? Wants to tell us? Who is the king of the north in Daniel 11? Who is the king of the south in Daniel 11? The king of the north mentioned in Daniel 11 is actually a series of Greek kings in Syria. Okay. I mean, I think that these are things that took place. That's why when I do in my studies, I just read it in the New Living and read right through it and don't even try to do much with it. Here are some key terms to remember. North equals Syria. The Seleucid dynasty, which included several kings with the name Antiochus, which did correspond with what the other guy said. South, Egypt, the Ptolemaic dynasty. So one of them, now, somewhere in here, it gets into the Antichrist is the way I've taught it. But this could actually be, and I'll tell you why. See where it says even to the time of the end? What's the end times? For ships of Cheatham will come against him, therefore shall he be grieved in return and have indignation against the holy covenant. Now you're getting back into the abomination of desolation again. So shall he do. He, who's he? King of the north, king of the south? I don't know. I think I've got a king of the north highlighted here. Yeah, I went in there and did that because I'm just not sure. They shall pollute the sanctuary, take away the daily sacrifices. There's the abomination, and shall place the abomination that make it desolate. Again, so Jamie, if you're saying that that's the abomination of desolation, if you're telling us that 23 is about the Antichrist, the small people, then you're saying that the abomination of desolation is done by the Antichrist. By proxy, that's what you're saying. Now, I don't know if you've made a comment based off the study I did with you earlier. So when I teach it, I tell people that I think the first half is about the old days and it starts to morph into and transition into the Antichrist in the last days. Where does that happen? Because you still have king of the north, king of the south. Does the Antichrist spiritually morph into the king of the north, king of the south through this process? Or is this story all about the old times when Israel was raided in the Old Testament and there was an abomination of desolation that took place in the Old Testament days also that Daniel is speaking of here? I would assume after Daniel. No, because it says in the last days, don't forget that, even to the time of the end, because of the time he had appointed. And this is, and I tell people all the time at 11:35, and they that understand as sheep among the people shall instruct many, yet they shall fall by the sword and by flame and by captivity and by spoil many days. Now, when they shall fall, sheep, they shall be holpen with little help, but shall cleave to them with flatteries. I don't understand what that means. I should not even highlight that because I'm all lost again. I don't even think I can get rid of it. This thing's so tricky, man. I shouldn't have highlighted it. It's like you can't unhighlight it. Yeah, you can. There it goes. You have to play with it. But many shall cleave to them with flatteries. Now, this is talking about sheep again. And some of them of understanding, that's sheep, we have understanding, we have God's wisdom, shall fall to try them and to purge and to make them white. That's what the end times great tribulation is for, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed. The king shall do according to his will. He shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished, for it be determined shall be done. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all, but he shall honor the God of forces, who is Chibel. We've been through that many times. It's Chibel, that who is, what is it again? It's Chibel. Golly. Cybernetics. The god Chibel is cybernetics. Chibel is cybernetics. I spelled it wrong, but Cybel is cybernetics. There you go. What is cybernetics? It's mixing man and machinery. Cybernetics is mixing man and machine. The cyborg, a portmanteau of cybernetic and organism, is a being of both organ and a cyborg is essentially a man machine. What is the concept of cybernetics? The study of control and communication in the animal and the machine. So I can't find the old definitions, but you can still find the truth in there. But it's the mixing of man and machinery. And that's what he's honoring the God of fortresses. The God of fortresses is Chibel. The God of fortresses is Chibel. Chibel, mother of the gods. Chibel, the ancient Pyrigian mother of the gods, a primal nature goddess worshipped. It's Mother Nature. And that's what it's all about. The God of fortresses. The word fortress. She's got the thing on her head. Chibel by Dr. Anthony E. Smart, the God of fortresses. There you go. I knew I'd get to it eventually. It takes longer and longer because the ghost in the machine. Cybele was a Greco-Roman goddess. Caverns and fortresses. The god of fortresses is Cybele. Let's look at images. And that's her. She's got the fortress on top of her head. So anyway, that's where we're at, is somewhere along the way, whatever you're telling me, if somebody is going to come to me with me knowing everything that the Bible says about the Antichrist, okay? Knowing everything the Bible says about the Antichrist, beast out of the sea. Revelation 13, King James Version, Bible Gateway. One of his heads were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. So all the world is going to wonder after the beast. And we're going to say, he shall come up and shall become strong with a small people, with a few people. Well, we know the whole world wonders after the beast because his deadly wound is healed. All we're waiting on is Trump to get the deadly wound. Now, if Trump dies tomorrow of a heart attack, then we throw it out. But I want to bet you Trump doesn't die of a heart attack. I'm going to bet you Trump doesn't die in a helicopter crash. I'm going to bet you that it's shown Trump to allegedly die with a right eye wound and a massive arm injury. So whatever's going on in Daniel 23, if that's Charlie Brown's Bible verse, which I don't want to speak for Charlie, Jamie is suggesting it. I just, I don't know how to make sense of it. That right there means the Antichrist comes from only a small group of people. So it couldn't be Trump because he has, right now, everybody loves Trump. We showed you how they loved him in India, how they loved him in Italy. They made that big float, the whole everything on TV, every movie, everything's about 88. Everything's about Trump. And his name comes to 80, comes to 666 in Gematria, and 666 comes to his name in Gematria. And he's hearing his own name because the horn is the Antichrist. So that's the other one. When you want to look at Trump, that fits perfectly with Donald Trump, is you go to Daniel 7, and it's all about a mouth speaking great things. And that's not even until, that's when he returns as the Antichrist. He'll have a mouth speaking great things. He's already got a mouth speaking great things. And maybe the mouth speaking great things is before he's the Antichrist. But I doubt it. I think that's after he returns as Antichrist, because he's blaspheming God in the temple. So it's the mouth speaking great things. But he's already, speaks great things. Lock her up. We're going to bomb the SHIT out of him. I mean, he's always had a mouth. Nothing is halfway. Everything is polarizing, amazing one way or the other. So we know that the horn, the Antichrist, makes war with the saints. If he's doing that with just a few people, I mean, I don't know what to make of Daniel. 11:23. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, when he rises back up behind the scenes, is there only a handful that truly see him risen from the dead? But that's all it takes. And from there, it just grows because he's got the spirit of Satan indwelt in him. And from there, it grows. Because is it just he and a handful of followers that are able to enter the richest areas of the land? Then he will disrupt among the following, plunder and wealth. I mean, I'm just telling you, Daniel 11 gets very confusing. And only towards the end do I understand that it's the end times and the Antichrist. Because it literally speaks to the time of the end. Even to the time of the end. I had it highlighted, even to the time of the end. Got it in purple and red in both of them? Okay. The king will do as he pleases. Exalting him and claiming to be greater than every god and blaspheming the God of gods, he will succeed, but only until the time of the wrath is completed. God's wrath, for what has been determined, will surely take place because God's already declared the end from the beginning, so it's going to happen. He'll have no respect for the gods of his ancestors or any god loved by, or for the god loved by women, or for the god loved by women is how they word it, which would be the divine feminine, or for any other god, for he will boast that he is greater than them all. Instead of these, he will worship the God of fortresses, the God his ancestors never knew, which is the ghost in the machine, which is basically Mother Nature, Gaia in the technology, which they showed you through that video game. Babylon Watch, I believe it was, and his other YouTube site. I can't remember what it is. Anyway, love y'all very much. Thank you, Jamie, for helping out. It's tough stuff.